Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers. And as always, we begin with a prayer. God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. As we do every Wednesday evening, in just a few minutes, Rich Savinci is going to be with us talking about consultants in the workplace, and he always has some very interesting observations about what's going on. What I wanted to talk about this evening was something that I read recently, a study from the Media and Communications School at Texas Tech University. They studied 1,100 online posts and 1,100 people that were observing why bad news makes people sad. Now, we really all know this in our hearts that bad news makes us sad, but we don't always admit it and think maybe it's just us and not necessarily other people. But they proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the majority of these people that they tested after providing bad news to them were saddened a little bit by it. What prompted this was that throughout my 50 years of doing this, I've realized that looking for a job is one of the most emotionally difficult things that we do. We've said that often on this program. And next to death of a spouse, death of a child, death of a parent, coupled with the most emotional thing we do is look for a job. And we're particularly susceptible when we look for a job about the negative things that happen, because it takes for every one positive thing in a job search, there are 14 negative things that happen, maybe even more. And this is especially true when when society is doing like it's doing. We got two wars going on. We got society in this country divided like it's never been. Politically, emotionally, it's just sad. And then when you couple that with the fact that you might be out of work and you might be looking for a job, even if you have a job, you're interviewing and you're getting rejected and getting refused and getting all kinds of things because it's pretty rough out there. It does make you sad. In fact, it makes you sadder than it does in most every situation. When the economy is good and things are going and there's good news around, we don't have its tendency to be as sad. And I wanted to bring this up mainly to warn people that it's not uncommon to be a little unhappy and a little sad when they're having to look for a job, especially with all the other things that are going on in our society. It's even worse. So when you're refused and told no, and you come close to getting a job and then don't, there's a tendency to be negative and feel bad about it. And it's not uncommon. A lot of times people don't want to admit it, or they don't want to share it with other people. They figure, well, it's just them and it's not other people. That's why it's important, if you're involved in a job search, no matter how easy you think it might be, I'd avoid the newspapers. I'd avoid the bad news on television. Lately, the television's been full of nothing but sad news about wars. One thing that is positive, at least here in Texas, is the Rangers are winning. So far, they're ahead 3-2 in that series, and that gives us something to cheer about, but it is not much, especially when it comes to comparing it to wars and the economy, and you especially if you are looking for a job. So be reading positive things, be reading positive books, be listening to positive podcasts and videos. There are bunches of them out there, more so than there ever been. But you've got to be building that bank of positive things, because so many things are going to go wrong in your situation, and that it's difficult, and bad news makes people sad. And when it happens to you, it does. So you've got to be reinforcing the positive aspects of what's going on as much as you can. And there's so little positive going on that if you don't insist upon it yourself, be reading positive books. Prayer is certainly a positive thing to do 2 or 3 times a day, and listening to funny movies, things that bring you up, being around people that are up, not being around people that are downers. Stay away from anything that looks like it's sad. It has more of an impact on you than you think it does, especially when you're going through an emotionally difficult time. Those things just don't help. So be aware that bad news makes people sad. Stay away from bad news as much as you can. A lot of people are just like to complain about things to other people. You want to know what happened to me? No, I really don't, because what's going on in your life is just as sad and just as troublesome as it is in anything else. So keep up the good work. Remember, bad news can make people sad. Good news, positive things can make them happy. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashir with the Job Search Solution.